Good evening, everyone. Hi. ദുബായ് വാർത്തയുടെ വലിയ വിജയത്തിന്റെ പിന്നിലുള്ള നിങ്ങൾ തരുന്ന ഈ കോൺസ്റ്റന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ലവ് ആൻഡ് സപ്പോർട്ടാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെ നിങ്ങൾ ഇങ്ങോട്ട് കുറെ സ്നേഹം ചേരുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ തിരിച്ചും ഇങ്ങോട്ട് തരണമല്ലോ. അതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ നാഷണൽ വൈഡ് പോപ്പുലർ ആയിട്ടുള്ള പല സ്റ്റാർസിനെയും അവരുടെ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഈ ഒരു പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൽ കൊണ്ടുവരുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇന്നും വളരെ സ്പെഷ്യൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരാൾ തന്നെയാണ് നമുക്ക് കിട്ടിയിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഇപ്പോൾ നാഷണൽ വൈഡ് ആളെന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ മലയാളം കുറച്ച് പ്രശ്നമാകും, പക്ഷെ നമ്മൾ മലയാളികളല്ലേ, നമ്മളല്ലേ അതൊക്കെ അഡ്ജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത് മനസ്സിലാക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു കഴിവ് നമുക്കുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഇന്നത്തെ നമ്മുടെ ഗസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ സോ എങ്ങനെ ഇപ്പൊ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു തുടങ്ങാന്നുള്ളതാണ്. സോ ഹി ടോട്ട് us to romance, he taught us to be gentle and kind towards women. മാത്രമല്ല സക്സസ്ഫുൾ ആവാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് സിനിമാ ബന്ധങ്ങളൊന്നും ഇല്ലാന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിലും ഹാർഡ് വർക്ക് ആൻഡ് ടാലന്റ് മാത്രം മതി നമുക്ക് ഉയരങ്ങളിൽ എത്താന്ന് നമുക്ക് ജീവിച്ച് കാണിച്ചു തന്ന വലിയൊരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ ആണ് ഇദ്ദേഹം. നമുക്ക് അറിയാം 2000 അലയിപ്പായത് തൊട്ട് നമ്മൾ എല്ലാവരും ഇദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ ഹ്യൂജ് ഫാനാണ്, എക്സ്ട്രീംലി ടാലന്റഡ്. This interview is actually just an excuse to see that smile for just about 30 minutes. So let me just welcome my most favorite, the darling man, Maddy sir. Hi sir.
Thank you. Shanim, you're very kind there. You make me feel very, very special all the time. You're very, very kind. I don't know if I'm worthy of all the praise.
You're definitely worth it, sir. You're more than that. Please understand.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sir, so before we just start, it's going to be 4 months now since this whole lockdown started. So what exactly this is teaching us? What exactly did it teach you?
I think like everybody, when it first started and it was supposed to be only for 10 days, we were all
Yeah.
enjoying a 10-day, honeymoon. We thought 10 days, everything will be fine. And it's a forced holiday. Everybody was tweeting about how it's good to spend time with the family and how it's good to spend time at home and cleaning. But I think 4 months down the lane, we're all much wiser. We just realized that life as we knew it has changed completely to a new abnormal. And, I think one of the most important thing this 4 months has forced us to know is more about ourselves. How many of us are actually genuinely who we thought we were? Are we
Hmm.
actually the kind of people who want to do good for other people, or are we the kind of people who, have to force ourselves a little more than we thought we need to? Are we the kind of people who jump in to help people when they really need it? Are we the kind of people who are generous enough to pay the salaries? Or are we also forced with insecurities to pay half and quarter? It just gives you a complete insight into who you really, really are. And more importantly, what your priorities are. And I think the fact that nobody knows when this is going to end is making everybody far more humbler, and far more self-sufficient and self-reliant. I won't say self-sufficient, but
Yeah.
definitely more self-reliant. And maybe there's a lot of good to come out of this, Shani. But it doesn't matter who you are. It's definitely shaken you. Even if it's Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos who's making money during this time, he too is shaken up, realizing how fragile we all are.
Okay, sir. So I thought this interview let it be a more special. So I just got some of your fans who are like the popular actresses, stars from Kerala or India. So they
How
have a few
sweet.
questions for you. So let's just begin with the first video.
Okay.
It's one of your co-stars, Mom. Yeah, let's just see the video. Habib.
Hi, Maddy. This is Mohandas here. Okay, so my question for you, I have two questions for you. One is, you have been part of several movies with amazing music. Which is your favorite song from your own movie that has been shot on you, obviously? And the second question is, when are you coming back to Los Angeles and when are we partying again?
That
I'd like
was
to answer the.
first question.
Sorry.
No,
I know. I'd
you could
like to
hear, no?
answer the. I could hear. I'd like to answer the second question first, Mamta. I want to come as soon as possible. Any excuse to try and take a flight and come over to the other part of the world just to know that it's possible, and of course to party in Los Angeles. It's a great city, and it was lovely meeting you and your friends and family over there. But as far as the first question goes, I think my all-time favorite song on screen that I've done would be Snegidane from my first film, Alai, simply because it's one of those films that for me was extremely romantic as a film. And this song was because of the lyrics and the way it was sung and the way it was picturized and the way there was a lot of innocence amongst grown-up people. That was something that I've always held very special and close to my heart. It's amazing to see how romance, not love, but romance makes much older people behave like such young people. It makes middle-aged men behave like teenagers. It makes old people behave like youngsters, and it makes youngsters behave like a fool. So I love the way I love the way romance makes you feel and behave so young. If you look at it, I'm sure Mani Ratnam sir also feels and does, is romantic. And when he does that, there must be a child in him that comes out. And therefore, in Snegidane, I saw two mature people, but a child in them coming out. And that's why it's one of my favorite songs.
Can I pick one favorite song of mine of the whole songs you did?
You should.
Okay, so it's Kadal Sadugudu. So there's another side of that song which is actually very interesting. Not many people know that you had to shoot it in reverse mode so that that whole rewind kind of thing would happen on screen. It was kind of a new experimental thing. So you remember shooting for that video?
I will never forget. In fact, we were the first movie, I think. A lot of people have done it subsequently, but the first film where we actually shot it in reverse. When I mean the camera was rolling in reverse. So not only had the words got to be said in reverse, but you have to imagine, Shaneem, that we have to give the expression also in reverse.
How is that possible?
It is possible. It was, because if you have to say something like, "Hey, listen to me," if that had to be the shot, it had to be, "Oh, sir, it should be like that." So, and can you imagine doing that in 48 frames and 96 frames? So we had to do it faster. Imagine. Yeah, we had to do it faster, and we had to do the expressions in reverse. So thanks to Maddy sir, he put me through some of the toughest hurdles in my very first film. I never knew I could do it. I mean, if somebody had explained the intricacies and the difficult, the level of toughness, I might have got worried. But the ignorance sometimes is brilliant, because throughout Alai-Paide, everything was new to me. I was acting as a hero for the first time. I was working with Maddy sir for the first time. All that was a new experience. So I didn't even know that itself was a challenge. So this was part of the challenge, and I managed to do it.
So, sir, the whole the year 2000, it was very special for not just for the movies, but so many things happened. This new wave of new actors started coming then, like you debuted Hrithik Roshan, Kareena Kapoor, Abhishek Bachchan. So many actors keep coming in after that. So, do you remember the whole year and the first day of your movie, Alai-Paide, the release date? How was it like?
I definitely remembered. I mean, how can you forget your debut year? I mean, it was extraordinary. See, all the others you mentioned who have debuted, I'm sure the pressure on them was much higher, simply because they were all star kids. They were all from the industry, and they had to make the debut and prove a point. And I was a vagabond. I just had to. I was walking in there, and I was God's own child. He was maneuvering where I went. So there is nothing in the world I could have done to get a debut from Mr. Mani Ratnam. In fact, he called me for Iruvar. I don't even know. I mean, it's like how do you explain this? It's like somebody wants to start off computer programming, getting called by Bill Gates to go work.
Yeah, best example.
So I was just trying to say that, and so it was a fantastic, unforgettable year, and so for me to be called by Mani sir and do my first film with all these stars, actually superstars, from P.C. Sriram to A.R. Rahman, Shalini, Mani Ratnam, Totadharni, all these people. So the fear factor wasn't there for me. I wasn't afraid of losing anything. I didn't have to prove anything. It was a great opportunity, and all the other people definitely knew what they were doing. I just had to make sure I delivered on my end, and I was very sure that if the film tanked, they wouldn't blame me for it.
So how was the first day like? Were you butterflies in the stomach kind of feeling you had then, or you were relaxed? Okay. Okay. Sorry. Sorry for that. Okay. Sorry for that technical glitch, guys. So we are resuming from where we just stopped. So the first day, day one of Alai-Paide. Yeah.
So I'm generally nervous before any shoot. In fact, even today, after 84 films or so around that number, when I go to the shoot on the first day, I think everybody is passing judgment on me, and I'm very, very nervous. I feel everybody is laughing at me. Yeah, even now, without a doubt. I feel like I'm on test. And that's why I insist on doing screen tests before I go to any movie. But on Alai-Paide, there was a strange sort of freedom. And I only remember getting nervous before somebody said action. But once action was said, I completely forgot where I was, who I was acting with, who was directing everything. It just becomes one single-minded job for me, and I enjoy that moment the most. So I wasn't very nervous actually during the shots.
Okay, so we have another video, one of your oldest friends, I guess. Have a second
Okay.
video, Jitesh.
So my question to Madhavan is, how does he keep himself? How does he keep the faith? Every 5 years, how does he reinvent himself with a new look or a new role? And are there moments when he goes through self-doubts? And he, how does he keep the faith? I mean, he's been in the business for over 25 years now. So how does he do it?
Wow, that's very sweet of Jitesh.
Jitesh Pillai is the editor of Filmfare. Yes, sir. Answer, please.
Yeah, and he's been a friend for me for the past 25 years. In fact, he was the first guy to actually give me a pass for Filmfare to see the
Sweet.
award function from the 75th floor, 75th row. I remember seeing that. So actually, Jitesh, it's acts like that. When you come to a place like Bombay, and you have come here, you don't have much to lose. You have a lot to gain, and you have to have a certain amount of faith in yourself, which keeps, of course, keeps getting challenged every now and then. And then somebody like a Jitesh will come and give you a Filmfare pass out of the blue because they like my work on television, or somebody like. You start feeling successful when you meet people who are successful and they start acknowledging you, right? And that is one of the ways that my faith kept getting reiterated all the time. So I'd been in the industry for 3-4 years, and suddenly somebody who I've admired as an actor will come and say, "What a job you do," or "What a nice actor you are." And I'm like, "Oh, what? Did Ompuri ji just say that?" Like, "Oh, oh wow, did they actually say that?" So when I was doing my job, and I used to get people come out of the blue and say, "You're a good actor," I'm like, "Are they talking about me?" So I think that ability to be amazed at the fact that you deserve that compliment, or you might even deserve that compliment, is something that's kept me alive all this while. Honestly, when somebody says something nice about me, more than anything else, I feel guilty. And more than guilty, I feel a sense of like, are they really talking about me feeling okay? And I didn't understand what it meant, but I realized that's one thing that's kept me going for a long time. I've never taken that for granted. Secondly, like Jitesh said, how do I keep the faith, or how do I reinvent myself? Reinvention is a necessity. It's not something that I do. Of course, everybody understands that. So I think people who've given their very best in the very first film, it's far more difficult for them to keep reinventing themselves because they have to grow as a human being from being
Right.
within the industry. So I mean, I know that Hrithik Roshan challenges himself. I mean, he's done such a brilliant job with acting and dancing in his first movie that dancing becomes a bigger challenge for him because the younger generation comes and they're kicking our ass, and he's still holding on. And I'm in great awe of what he's managed to do in terms of how he looks and how he dances even at this age. But I am trying to do that with my ability to act and portray characters. So what we people try to do is to keep yourself relevant and aspirational. You have to be one step ahead of the younger generation and whatever they're doing to be relevant in our age group. So that's been a fight, and there has never been a moment where I've never had self-doubt. So faith has always been there, in the sense that I still think I've only given 50% of my ability to act. I still have to. I don't think anybody else can do that, but myself. I have to dig inside, deeper inside, and get the kind of roles that I want. I still want to play a crazy old man, or I want to play, a corporate executive who's into corporate espionage. There are so many things that I know I can play and do and add realism to it that I haven't been able to do yet. But that's largely because I haven't been able to gather the kind of stories and the people who believe in those kind of stories. So the desire that I have to, exhaust everything in my arsenal before I hang up my boots is one of the things that helps me keep the faith.
Okay, so I remember Amitabh Bachchan telling in an interview that he had to take a break in between, and he says that that's one of the biggest mistakes he had ever done. You also had a small hiatus, kind of from 2012. You took a break, and you came back with a bang with Irdhi Sutru. But was that? Do you think was he right with taking a small break from the industry, or
I
was
think
that
it is
necessary at that point of
extremely
time?
Oh, I think it is extremely essential. Not small breaks. You should have the guts to take big breaks. What Amitji said is right. In his era, out of mind was out of sight. You know, you had to be in because somebody else would take in. Because at that time there was no connect with your star on a
Correct.
daily level. You know, you could not get and see a song from Silsila whenever you wanted to, unless they put it on TV, right?
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
I'm at everybody's disposal 24 hours a day. So they want to catch a speech somewhere, or they want to catch a motivational talk somewhere, or they want to see me doing a song from Tambi or you know Minnale or Rehna Hai Tere Dil Mein or Ramji or Rang De Basanti, whatever. I'm at their disposal. So there's a report card right there in front of us all the time. You know what I mean? For people
Yeah.
to compare. So they would see a movie of mine, and if I didn't achieve a different level of characterization or ability to act and breathe, then they said, hey, you know, you've done this in Sala Khadus, or you've done something like this before. What have you done any different? So the ability to compare is instantaneous right now. So for that, I don't know about the others. I take shameless breaks. I've taken 4 year breaks, 3 year
Yeah.
breaks. I think I've learned that from Amir actually. But it's not really a break, Shanim. It's not having to do movie after movie after movie because you don't get time to grow. You don't get time to turn back and say, hey, you know, what have I done? It's just the same. Why would I want to watch my movie? It's not, you know, it's not. And my forte is to find stories that are new. So I think it's extremely essential to grow, and that growth period requires a heavy duty research. So I'm doing a film now that I have to be a scientist, and I've been doing 4 years of research on how to build a rocket engine. I can build it with my bare hands right now if somebody lets me. So, and I feel
I'm
really good
sure.
about it. And then I had to throw that, and I do have a romantic film called Mara. So all of a sudden, you chuck that, and you go back to your Maddy self and try to see how you can get into that and make that also aspirational. So I think the break is very important. I think I've done about 60 odd films in the first 10 years of my life, and about 7 or 8 in the next 10 years.
Okay, so next question, let it be another person who's a huge fan of yours. Saniya's video,
Wow.
Habib.
Hi, sir. I hope you're doing great. So, I just want to ask you a simple question. How do you react to trolls? And how do you handle your social media so well?
Okay,
How
I
do I
thought you
handle
could.
trolls?
No, the reason she asked because Saniya is regarded as the troll queen of Kerala. Everything she does, there is a troll video next day coming out. So yeah, the
Okay.
girls over there are pretty much confused. So if you could advise them to help and handle with this thing, it will be
I
great.
Yeah, I only got to see most of the video, but I understood what she's saying. I couldn't see the whole video. But yeah, Saniya, first of all, Saniya is an extraordinary dancer. I've seen her videos and she's like magical. Also, Saniya, I'd like to tell you that right now, especially now in the last 4 or 5 months, people are going through a lot of tough times, okay? They're not really able to give the best side of themselves. And I can tell you something. You can say the nicest one line on the internet. You can say the nicest simple line or put up the simplest photograph of a baby smiling. You will still have people saying something negative about it. Oh, there in the back of the baby, there is something that shouldn't have been there, or this music is good. And you have to learn to forgive these people. It's not that they're even aware of the kind of impact it creates on people who they're commenting on. But there is nothing good you can say right now that will always get positive comments. And we are also those kind of people that if you put up a video of say you're dancing and there are 80 people who've written great stuff about your dance and there is one guy or one person who's trolled you and said something nasty, it's human tendency to concentrate more on that one negative thing.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, you completely negate that 80 people said good stuff about you, and therefore you start focusing on it. So the question now you have to ask yourself is, why are you letting the negativity come back into life? There's 80 people who have said well. So if you imagine you're performing in front of an auditorium and 80 people are clapping and one person is not clapping, would you know the difference? Why does it become more prominent when somebody writes it for you? It's just like somebody not clapping in a theater. It's like somebody who's saying, Maddie, your film is a flop. People said Three Idiots was a flop. We got trolled for Three Idiots. So it's
What?
true. Yeah. There is not one
It's one
film
of the
or
biggest
one
hits of
thing.
India. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean everybody loved it. But that also doesn't mean that I focus on somebody who did like it. They're entitled to their opinion, and they're going to be nasty because if they are nasty to you, just remember you have become big enough for them to be nasty to you. Only when you're higher than the troll, only I'm not going to go and troll a sad fan or a fan of somebody else who's trolling me, because I don't care what he thinks or she thinks. So if somebody above you is trolling you, then you should even care to listen. I don't think you should worry about it. But if somebody above, if I suddenly say, hey, Saniya, that's not done, that's not right, then you should at least bother to read it and say what my problem is. But if Eru Geru Nathunerus without a name are actually going to troll you, then I think you should just let them have their feel of negativity. What I generally do is I just block it. I just don't want to get into a debate with them. There is no point, because it just adds to the negativity. So you just forgive them. You just say nice things about, like, okay, you know what? If I read, you should know that if I read that troll line one more time, it's going to affect me. Delete it or block it. Move on. And I'm telling you, in that way, you're going to build a base of people who are going to watch your program and say what is right about it. There are some people who are not necessarily trolls; they're critics. They might not agree. Sometimes I've learned some of the most amazing things by what people had to say about what I was doing on the internet. And it's been a great learning experience for me. They were not trolls. It hurt what they said, but they had a point. And so it helped me change myself also. So what I'm trying to say is, uh, handling the trolls is entirely in your hands, entirely. And it's not easy. I totally agree with you. It's not easy. But I managed to do it simply because I have decided that no matter what, I'll only spread positive things on the internet. I will only write about positive stuff. In fact, people have started expressing their griefs and sorrows when people pass away on the internet, and everything. And I realized I'm thinking to myself, what am I achieving by putting an RIP on Twitter or on Instagram? What is it that I'm trying to do? Am I trying? And because I realized that, much to my disgust, that every time I put it and it doesn't get noticed, or suppose I say RIP, and then you're checking for articles to see, hey, did somebody notice the fact that I missed them? And then it was not about, and there's an article saying, oh, Maddy's, and I was thinking, oh, it's my God, it's anything but that. I want to actually express that I'm going to miss them and regret them not being in our lives. So I didn't want to do that publicly anymore. So I realized that ideally from now on, I want to wish birthdays and and condolences and everything in person, if not at least by a personal phone call to the people who need it, rather than do it publicly, because for me that stopped working.
Yeah. Okay, so there's another video. Sorry, sir. The whole girls, when they hear your name, they go mad. So they all want to ask you so many questions. So let's go to Jumana's question, Habib.
Hi, sir.
Okay.
I'm Jumana here. So I've always wanted to ask you, your chemistry with your co-actors are so amazing. Me as a beginner, I've always been so nervous about doing romance on screen. So I would love to hear some tips from you.
Okay, thank you. I think today is Guru Purnima, so everybody is calling me sir.
We all love to call you sir. Okay, so I want to just add something to that question. So first of all, I want to know how you crack that chemistry right, because it's always bang on with any of the heroines, even with the co-male actors also, be it with Arya or Amir. You do have an amazing equation or chemistry, whatever let's call it. And so my question is, so when there is somebody, artists are generally moody. So when somebody is not in their best mood and something is not coming out right from them, then how do you manage it? You just finish it for the professional you are, or you have some other magic or codes for that?
I have three things that I have to say. One, that if I have to play a dead person, I don't have to die because of that. You understand? Secondly, I'm very affected by cringeworthy performances of my own. So I don't want to be, it might not work. It might not be what you call appreciated or correct, but at least in my own eyes, I don't want to do anything that I could have done better, but it's because I didn't do it as good, it's cringeworthy. Because I look at it and I go, and there are movies like that. I've done stuff like that earlier on in my career, and I've hated myself for it. And so when it comes to romance or any relationship, as a matter of fact, but I think the lady was asking me about the chemistry with a girl, with a heroine, for instance. Yeah. See, you really have, let me tell you a secret. You really have to feel the romance. You really have to actually, for that moment that you're acting, be in love with the person. And irrespective of how much you appreciate them or like them in real life or not, I always project the best quality that I see in them during the performance, that I've met them in a personal life, and the qualities that I really, really like about them. And I'm sure everybody has some quality that they do. And I put my heart and soul into feeling uh, positive and desirable to the person in front of me. So one of the other things that I managed to do is to how to make it real is to be there, not have an outer body experience during the shot, wondering whether I'm performing right or wrong. That's one of the things that kills performances completely for me. And so, therefore, I don't prefer to act with actors who don't know the language. I've done that earlier in my career, but the flow of dialogue and that creating that realism gets completely battered when the person doesn't know and somebody else is prompting them from behind. So imagine looking at a beautiful girl's eyes and saying, "मैं तुमसे बहुत प्यार करता हूँ यार," and somebody else in a man voice saying, "मैं भी तुमसे बहुत प्यार करती हूँ," and the girl repeating it. There is no, it's never going to happen, right? It's distracting. So I try to convince my art directors to cast people who know the language, so that we're able to give a more because that's the realistic kind of films, the kind of stuff that I do. And most importantly, Shani, I learned it in my very first film, Anti-PIRACY, and I'll give you an insight. There is a scene where Shalini is coming to my house for the Valagappa, where she's coming to my house for the first time, and she's dressed beautifully. She's dressed like a goddess. And I remember PC Sriram and Maniratnam telling me, "You come at 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow." And coming at 9 o'clock in the morning is like on crime in a Maniratnam set, because they're all there at 4:30, 5 o'clock, getting ready for the shot. And especially first time actors, I was working as an associate director and everything. So when I said 9 o'clock, I said, "What's happening?" But 9 o'clock, sure enough, I came, I got ready. And I was standing near the doorway with my friends. And he said, "Maddy, when the song starts, I'll say action. And Shalini would be near the door over there. And you have to just look at her and you've never seen her look so beautiful in your life." I'm like, "Okay, great." And when the song started, the camera came over the head of all these old ladies. They were singing, came to me. And then Mani sir said, "Action." And he said, "Look at the doorway." And I looked. And there, Shalini was actually ready in all her makeup and beautifully lit by PC Sriram in that early morning light. And it was baffling. It was shocking to see her like that. I've never seen her in the whole movie like that. So for the 2 seconds, I was like, "Who?" I was gone. I was stunned out of my head. And I think people were able to capture that. And that is something I realized, that if you're going to do romance on screen, one of the most important things is to make sure you make an atmosphere of romance around you. So I need to make sure that everybody around me is smelling good. If somebody's not smelling good, it takes me out of the mood. So I'll wear nice perfumes. I'm sure the heroine is all there. Then the room is smelling nice. Everything is smelling good, and the colors are right. And so even if it's a shabby situation, there's no reason why it shouldn't be stinking, right? So I create the mood for the romance to happen, and then it automatically just happens. Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything that kind of embarrassing for you, which you never enjoy doing it on screen?
When I became an actor, I thought I'm going to get a license and a legitimate thing to go do romance with beautiful girls and do kissing scenes, and because it's one of the things that my friends kept asking me about, like, "Hey man, how did you romance this person or that person, and how it is and stuff like that." But much to my horror, I realized I'm not very good at it, and because it has to be so real as far as I'm concerned, I always feel guilty that I might overdo it and come across as somebody obnoxious. So I'm very embarrassed and terrible at passionate scenes.
Okay, very difficult to believe. Okay, we have one more video, sir. Probably the last video. It's another heroine from Kerala. Her name is Gauthami.
Okay.
Abhi?
Hi sir, Gauthami Nair here. I just wanted to tell you that I'm a huge fan of your work. My question is that recently I had the opportunity to direct my own movie, and through the process I understood how taxing yet exhilarating the entire process is. So in Rocketry you actually directed yourself. So I really wanted to know how challenging that experience was to take up, such a big responsibility on your own. And I'd like to wish you all the best for the movie as well. Thank you, sir.
Gauthami, that's very sweet of you.
She just directed a
Look,
movie in Malayalam. Yeah.
oh wow, congratulations, Gauthami, well done. I don't know how I directed, because the movie is yet to come out. It was not something that I had planned all my life at all. In fact, it was not something that was planned till 1 month before the shoot, or less, actually 20 days before the shoot. And for some unavoidable circumstances, it so happened that I had to direct the film. And so I can't tell you what sort of an experience it has been for me, because I think I was in a trance. I had to not, all of us had to act in 3 different languages, live sound, 5 different generations, 5 different decades, 7 countries, 7 looks. It's just too much for me to even imagine to direct as a first. And I've not even directed an iPhone film in my life. I have not done a short film. I don't know anything about editing. I've learned everything for the first time while doing this movie. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed and praying really hard, man. I don't know how, I'll tell you how hard it is depending on how the film turns out.
No, what she wanted to ask. So you just said that we all have this self-critical thing. We are never happy with ourselves. So was there any help with someone, or how do you judge yourself, your performance? Is it easy? It comes naturally to you?
One of the things, like I said earlier, no, Shanim, there's no point in having an out-of-body experience while you're acting. So when you're performing, if some actor is beginning to think, oh, it's coming out really well, or it's going well, or am I hitting the spot, or is the modulation correct? That means not even 30% of you is there in the shot. So for me, when I'm performing, I don't think about all that. I just go there, and I don't have time to think. I have to do just what is there in the shot, right? I think I did the same thing as far as this particular movie is also concerned, as a director also. I wasn't thinking. I really wasn't thinking. One thing I knew for sure, I knew exactly what I wanted. So like it or lump it, or however it's turned out, I'm to blame, because I knew exactly what I wanted. That's the only thing I can tell you. And I was doing everything possible to make sure that I got what I had in mind. And then we'll have to see how the people react to it and see how the film has come out.
Okay, before ending, so you just said you are very nervous, but you see, for us, you are the most confident man. Like you can win the audience in just like in 5 seconds, you win the whole crowd. So how that boy from Jamshedpur became this magnificent, huge star who can motivate, who can speak about anything in the world under the sun. So how did you achieve that all? I know you read a lot, you made a lot of people, but yeah, finally, how do you achieve that much? Like, be it confidence or the wisdom, everything.
So, like I said in the beginning of the interview, Shani, when somebody gives me that sort of a compliment, I really feel they're talking about somebody else. And
No, it's you only, sir. Nobody else.
no, I know, but I almost feel guilty accepting a compliment like this. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like I convince myself it's not true. Somehow I try to convince myself it's not true, that I have a long way to go. But as far as confidence is, I think what people perceive as confidence. Okay, I think I've figured out what you're asking me right now. I was thinking how to answer this question. I think what people figure out as confidence, no, Shaneem, is me trying to be nice to somebody in front of me. Okay, is me trying to just honestly be nice, being a human being and acknowledge somebody in front of me. Okay, when you don't have an agenda and you're not trying to go and meet somebody with an idea of getting something from them, I think you just naturally become yourself. So it's very easy to engulf somebody as a friend or as a nice person. When you meet them for the first time, the conversation becomes easier and you're not thinking about what you're saying, and that's perceived as confidence. So for me, one of the things that I have realized has taken me a long way in this industry is just having to be nice here. It's just having to let people be who they are, not pass judgment on them, and just be straightforward with anybody who meets you. So whoever I meet, I try to make an eye contact, and I try to listen. I don't just hear. I listen to what they're saying, what they're not saying. And when you have a conversation, like, see, for example, I met you almost 10 years ago, Shani, and you were you're a shy, very quiet guy. And look at what you're doing right now. You're conducting a live interview and you've come such a long way. You've started your own agency. You've done everything. So I would attribute to the fact that you're genuinely basically a nice guy, and you make people comfortable around you. I think that is one of the hallmarks of confidence. When you're not thinking about every word you're saying, when you're not manipulating every expression on your face, it translates as confidence.
Yeah. And we get to learn so many things from let me just give you an example. So I never knew before I meet you. This is what I noticed in you. See, you always stand up when somebody walks towards you. You open the door for the women. So these are the things which I learned from you. So this is how you motivate and inspire us. So I hope you keep doing this, and I think it's time for us to wind this up also. So this is one of my most favorite and I think the best interviews I ever had. Enjoyed and
I'm
laughed so
sure.
much, sir. So thank you so much for taking your time and be the man you are. Not much. Many more compliments I'm giving you and making you uncomfortable.
Thank
I'm
you.
just giving you the compliments now.
No,
So thank you so much,
but
sir.
thank you.
You stay safe
I've
and
you've
hi
been
to
a great.
Vedant and everybody in the family.
I will, I will, and thank you for being such a nice friend and being in my life. And my regards to everybody in the studio who's working hard during this COVID era. Big love and regards to all of you all, and hope to catch you all in person. It's about time, right?
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
You bet. Bye.